Right, Denise, sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
Well, the 8 News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro Police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Someone calls 911 reporting two large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm still nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey, if those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So yeah, this is quite weird, Brian was saying as we're watching this story. Now, we've been in contact with the family in that video, and as you heard in that 911 call, they seem very reasonable and honestly quite scared as you heard them in the call. No, they don't seem impaired in any way. And whatever crashed by the time the police got there was gone, but sources say that there's really no dispute. Something was in their yard. Exactly what? We do not know.
Welcome, everybody, to the show. Welcome back. This is something a little different. I'm Tomcat, a.k.a. Tom Thompson, the Reptilian. And who am I joined by on this this very special episode?
Agent Horror Boy.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah. I'm going to go for Agent Horror Boy. I don't know.
So,
I'm getting X-Files vibes, so.
Oh, yeah. This was your idea, technically. And I'm going to run it as one of the main episodes for everybody. We still have a lot of stuff in bank ready to go, so don't worry about that. There's tons of stuff coming from Strange Brew Podcast, but we decided to discuss the recent UFO phenomenon.
And while we discuss it, we have our armor on us as well.
Yes.
So for anybody who's watching, we do have our armor. So make sure if you're listening to this episode that you do wear your tinfoil hat the entire time.
Yes, because we do have our tinfoil hats on. It's pretty fun and exciting. We're going to get into a bunch of different clips. You're drinking your Bill Gates poison.
Yep.
And I'm drinking... I honestly, I didn't want to... actually, it's very, very funny. Chelsea told her mom, because they're starting to get, the booze. They said they'd handle it and stuff like that. Like, her stepfather wants to, help get most of the booze and stuff, and they already have collected shit for the wedding. And Chelsea had to tell her mom that I requested to not have Bud Light at the wedding at all.
I mean, that's a fair request, I think.
I don't want no GMO gay water. You fucking joking? So, and even like I was looking around and I go to this like kind of hole in the wall LCBO that has it's a convenience store too. There's not many in Canada like that, but it's on my way home. So I was like looking for like a 2-4 just so I had beer in the fridge. It's the summertime, everyone wants to have a beer and stuff like that. So with Alexander Keith's, I'm not a fan. I love
Never heard of it.
IPAs.
Don't
Never heard
even-
of Alexander Keith's, really?
Never, ever, ever.
It's an Indian pale ale. I like pale ales. I like IPAs. But not like this kind. I like strong, hoppy beer, but I wasn't impressed. I haven't had a Keith's in a while.
You're not like me then, drinking cans of moobs.
Yeah, pretty much. Bill Gates now owns a big stake in in I think Heineken and something else. So this should be
Get my
fairly fun.
Bill Gates moobs into me.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's talking about people's health. You seen that guy?
I know, yeah.
Just
Yikes.
He's just a lizard covered in human skin.
Not even a good looking one.
So pretty crazy. So if people haven't heard, a UFO was caught on a cop's body cam, and then within minutes, the police got a phone call from these people claiming that a creature was walking around their backyard. Now you want to talk about this. So why did you want to start getting into this? Well, I guess because it's hot, right? It's
yeah, like
finger on the pulse, right? But what were you thinking about it?
When I initially seen it, I was like, and I think probably like most people, when you first look at something like this, before my conspiracy brain kicks in, I'm like, it's happening. I knew it. I fucking knew it. And then I was like, they even released police body cam footage and all. I was like, I fucking knew aliens were real. I knew it. And I was like, now the general public is gonna know, and like even the cops are starting to believe this shit. But obviously, then the more we probably talk about this and dig into it, there's other things that crop up, and
yes,
maybe it's not as it seems.
Maybe it's a government psyop. Because even my buddy at work, I said I was going to use his point that 20 years ago, whatever, 30 years ago, the government was like, aliens don't exist. And then the conspiracy theorists were like, aliens exist. Okay, they exist. They're covering it up. And nowadays, it's like the government is acknowledging that aliens exist, and the conspiracy theory is like, aliens are not real, space is fake and gay, and the world is flat. And so so now people are like doing that sort of thing where it seems to happen often, where as soon as the government starts acknowledging stuff, people obviously question it. And is it a psychological warfare against the people to bring in Project Bluebeam, which we can kind of touch upon as we discuss this, or is it actually real and they can't hide it anymore?
I really, really, really want aliens to be real. And I don't even know if we end up dying in the process. Like, it'll probably end up like some fucking Independence Day shit or something. But like, I just want to be able to stand there when it's like the fucking apocalypse and the world is ending and just go, I fucking knew.
Yeah, I've been talking about this for a very long time. It had my own weird experiences, and many people around this world have claimed to have been abducted, and you guys will hear that when you there's a big alien episode coming from me and Billy. So be excited for that. But I don't know. I do believe in interdimensional beings. I think that we just don't exist physically here. We exist beyond anyone's imagination of what reality actually is. It's probably not even what they think it is. It's probably something way more expansive. So, I don't necessarily trust the government at all, either side, nobody. But when we do get into Project Bluebeam, we will dive and dig into that hole of like, are they doing this because they've had technology kept hidden from us for a very long time, and now they're starting to use it because people are waking up and the world is getting to a point where they can't control us anymore. The whole world's on fire pretty much. Like, Canada is actually on fire, but and then you got you got a bunch of stuff going on that is kind of weird. You have France standing up in Syria and different places protesting in large amount of numbers. So the people are starting to wake up, and their last resort has always been a war against aliens.
Yeah, and you know what, right? This is the um maybe some people could say it's like the most interesting and most fun part about being a conspiracy theorist or being interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's a double-edged sword. So it's like it's one of those things. It's like a blessing and a curse because now I've gotten to the stage where if this had been me years ago when I first started to get into like aliens and shit like that, I would have just straight up just believed this shit and been like, definitely. But now, obviously, as the years have went on, we have seen what humanity does to each other and how many different fucking sneaky tactics and scumbaggery there is.
Yes.
Now I find it hard to just accept the fact because then
Yeah.
I'll question absolutely every angle of whatever the story is. And I'm like, now I can never get the answer.
I know, and even like it's funny because I've been awake, not woke, because woke is bad. Awake and aware of the fact that the government is an evil entity. For like since I was a teenager, I was cluing into this stuff, and then now as I'm getting older and stuff like that, it's just like I've always wanted the mass awakening to happen, and it's kind of happening, and it's gonna, and I always thought it was gonna be tough, but this is gonna be a tough road because as the more people that awake and become in tuned with what's going on and the fact that we're being lied to at every angle, the more that the government is going to strangle us, and their hands are going to get tighter and tighter around the throat of humanity until we finally ascend, hopefully to a higher level of dimension. Who knows if that will happen, or we rise up and take hold of the government, power to the people, as I always say. But that's an episode for another day.
Here's a question without getting too far into that. But do you think, right? I often think about that. If the us the people rise up, does the world end up looking like something like the Purge then?
I hopefully, I think that people are inherently good. There's something wrong with serial killers. Maybe they're created by the government or the reptilians or something like that, where these actual demonic people have been taken a hold by some sort of energy that we cannot see or some sort of entities from beyond our eyesight. But if you see what's happening, in the Netherlands and stuff like that, where they're rising up and they're actually, I think it's the Netherlands where they voted in like legit like a farmer or something like that, where they a politician that was actually for the people. I don't even think he was a politician. So like the tides are starting to shift. I can see it. 3 years ago with some of the stuff that I talk about on one of my political Instagrams, I guess you could say it is, I probably would have got way more hate, and now I get nothing but love, and then a couple of snide comments by people that are like have their accounts on private and probably eat their own shit every morning. I mean, like not literally, but like they're like just living in an echo chamber, and they're like, "I love the government," and then their echo like comes back, and it's like, "Oh, I also," and then they just live in that that echo chamber of hypocrisy and bullshit.
Yeah.
So I got some fun videos to play for this one. So obviously for the audio listeners, we'll be discussing them and I'll explain what we're seeing. But yeah, this would be a fun one to tune into after we are live right now. We don't do this very often, but for certain episodes, I think it's kind of fun to do some live stuff for the fans and for people on YouTube, considering we both are growing our channels and stuff like that. So let's get into this one. And then after this one, we will unmute our mics for each video. But this one, it's just we don't need to be unmuted for this. Ready?
Strange objects are being spotted in the skies around the world, but what they are exactly is still unknown. That was the main takeaway from a public meeting held by NASA, which set up a panel last year to investigate unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who works for the US Department of Defense, told the UAP meeting that seeing strange flying metallic orbs was becoming an almost everyday occurrence. UAPs is a fancy new term for UFOs, but no matter what you call them, it's been revealed the Pentagon is receiving 50 to 100 reports every month about the strange objects. Of those, Dr. Kirkpatrick said only between 2 and 5% could be considered anomalous, and even then, investigators didn't have enough data to explain what their origins were. And getting to the bottom of the phenomena isn't easy at the moment, with several members of NASA's 16-strong group of UAP investigators experiencing severe harassment. NASA said stigma about the topic remained one of the most significant barriers to solving the mystery.
And what do we know about NASA?
They're really cool.
Never a straight answer. They literally, like, I do not believe what NASA says. And the thing is, like, the flat earthers often go off, and I'm like, as I get more deep into the stuff, I literally said on the Great Alien episode that will be coming up with me and Billy that, like, I don't necessarily know. Maybe we are in some dome and there's a firmament, because I talked about where they were launching rockets and detonating, like, nuclear rockets in the atmosphere. It's like, why are they doing that? And who knows, right? If there is any truth to that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But there's something fishy going on, and I do think, I believe that the universe might exist. I do, but one thing I do believe, and will always believe no matter what, is that there is different dimensions, that we exist in only this physical dimension, but there's ones that are overlapping our dimension. And I truly do believe in the hierarchies of spirituality, and that we are stuck in these physical bodies to learn lessons, and that we ascend to higher levels of dimensions the further we get along with our spiritual evolution. That is something I'll hold to my core. And I do believe in aliens, but maybe not extraterrestrials, maybe interdimensional creatures, but you could have both, because I've been listening to a bunch of different shows on aliens and stuff like that, and I was just on Forbidden Knowledge News, and he's, I don't know, Chris has had some really compelling people on his show, and that have had UFO encounters, and there's 2 people I would like to bring on the show connected through him eventually that will be pretty interesting. Someone who is connected to the Illuminati families, and then a big ufology name. So I have not sent the emails out yet, and then hopefully soon. My man, the myth, the legend, David Icke.
That would be unbelievable.
Billy, so everyone, it's going to be fairly funny. I hope you guys are really excited for the Great Alien episode that is coming up. It might be a couple weeks out the time this releases. But Billy gave me like, he's like, what did he almost like, I was like, what's that word where you try to like sell it to people? He gave me like not an ad, but he was like, this guy loves you, man. Like, if David Icke, if you're listening, and he's did this whole spiel, and I was like, it's like, yes, I get it, Billy. Can you stop? So, and what do you, because I don't trust NASA. I think that they're lying to us, because even maybe the Earth might be round, and it might be we might be in the universe as we think it is, because I've always said to people, I've used telescopes, right? I've used binoculars too, which you can see pretty far away binoculars. It's how me and my friend started seeing UFOs when we were like 17, is we got like his like grandfather's old school binoculars and started like looking up, and we're like smoking weed. And this is why I noticed where we're looking at stars, and they were like moving, like bobbing in the sky. And then this is what I noticed. I told you before. I think on the Shag Harbor UFO episode is when I saw like green, yellow, blue, and it was like changing colors. Like, it was pretty crazy, and we saw, like, numerous, and I was like, that's not a fucking star, there's no way, and we would see it moving and almost like a ship. And I used to have a telescope that I used quite regularly when I was a teenager to try to find UFOs, and I saw some weird shit that I can't explain. So I'm like, okay, we live in a fucking dome, according to flat earthers, or the firmament or whatever, and it's like, well, what are all these objects in the sky? Are they just, like, some projection? I don't know, it's just weird.
Because sometimes, and not to like, I guess, ruin the fun conspiracy side of it, as in like, wanting to talk about believing in aliens, whatever, but sometimes I wonder, is all of this shit just a plant by different government agencies? And like, I don't know, it's just, it seems, the strangest part is, and it's like you said, for years, there's been a huge community of people who have believed in UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrial, whatever.
I went to a UFO conference. It was fun.
And like, I would love to do that. And it's like, it's one of those things where, for all this time you were told like you were a lunatic, you were a weirdo, you were psychotic if you believed in that shit. And then like in recent years, the government and all these different agencies have done a complete 180 on everything they've ever said. And like now we have like I'm sure you've seen the stuff about David Grush.
No.
That whistleblower. So have you not seen this story, no? This is like big time doing the rounds at the minute. So I'll just read some of what's online, but that could potentially be another small episode that we could do soon. On June 5th, 2023, U.S. Air Force officer and former intelligence official David Grush publicly claimed in a video interview, based upon information he has received from other officials, that the U.S. federal government maintains a highly secretive UFO retrieval program and is in possession of non-human spacecraft. He also announced that through a law firm, he had in 2022 filed a disclosure of urgent concerns complaint of reprisal to the U.S. Office of Intelligence Community Inspector General, which would allow him to present classified information to United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, along with a complaint of retaliation by his superiors for a similar prior complaint he made the year previous.
See, that's what I'm saying is like, have you ever you've heard of Phil Schneider, right? The guy that's supposed so I would I want to eventually do an episode about William Cooper because he believed they were interdimensional like demons, like what Alex Jones says, which is kind of like to me, I've always said this, right? Because I have religious friends, and I know a lot of Christians because of like what I fight against, and the fact that religious people are fighting against the establishment. Mostly, like you have literally Muslims and Christians banding together against the indoctrination in the schools right now. In Canada, it was crazy in Ottawa, like Muslims and Christians coming together, and I think in some like fucking Jews and shit too, everyone coming together to fight against this cult LGBT community. People can think what they want, but there is literally gay people speaking against this in mass numbers now. But like you got to bring people together no matter what your religion is, but they think it's demons. But I'm always like, I've had this on videos I've posted on TikTok about like Alex Collier talking about the reptilians, like they're demons. I'm like, what would come first? Because aliens is only a term, but the beings that exist, right? Why would they be demons? Demons is the word you took from a book that a man wrote, right? But the idea that they've existed probably longer than we have, and if there's truth that goes into that they created us through like genetically modifying us, that's why Darwin's theory doesn't match up, because there's a missing link, which there's the idea that we were taken off the planet for 100 years, genetically modified, and then they brought us back here to mine gold or do whatever slave tactics they need us to do. But it is kind of weird considering like they always claim, oh, it's demons, but it's like, what would have come first, man? Like it would have been these creatures and these beings that manipulate us and stuff like that too. And there's all these different theories going around, but let me say this, and then I want to hear your opinion, is like, there's like all these different theories, right? But is the government exposing this stuff because they know that they're already here and they're starting to show up, and they're trying not to scare the public because it will cause mass panic and people will freak out if they start seeing stuff more often, which they have been? Or is it like the government prepping us for a Project Bluebeam, where they know that we're waking up and they want to tighten down the bolts to enslave us into this thing where it's like, oh no, now there's aliens here, and they show us projections in the sky that look like a UFO fighting against, some sort of jet fighter, anything like that, right? And we know, if you understand and if you've dived into any research about the conspiracy lore surrounding UFOs or Project Bluebeam, we know they have this technology. I've seen it myself. There's cast of stuff into the sky, and there's video footage of people thinking they see Jesus and shit floating around the sky. So,
I mean, look, fucking Disney can create some wild shit with projectors and light and stuff like that. So I mean, if I can go to Disney World and fucking see, I don't know, Captain Jack Sparrow fly across the fucking sky and do all the like crazy shit, then don't tell me for a second that like some of these agencies and governments can't do something like that.
Yeah.
And I think both of those options are equally as scary. Like if you think about everything that happened over the last couple of years with COVID, the world, I don't want to like fucking sound like I'm over exaggerating or being like an extremist or whatever, but like I feel like that the world really did teeter on the edge there of like potentially just like falling apart altogether. I'm not saying that it didn't in a way, but like I think there was potential there for like the entire population of the planet to just like engulf each other and just
Yeah, no, and then in mass chaos, and people were turning on each other, their own family members, because they didn't want to subject themselves to a medical experiment. Either way you slice it, that's what it is, and it's still those things that people got are still under the emergency authorization. It's not even, it shouldn't even be still able to get it, and that is the truth of the matter, right? But we saw this, and it's okay. It's okay, okay? My own mom called me an extremist. So, and that she's like, well, your views are kind of extreme. I'm like, but are they? Or am I questioning the fact that the understanding of what we know is nil to nothing? Like we don't understand mostly anything. It's not hyperbolic to say that. It's the fact that we know nothing, and the fact that if the people that didn't notice how easy it was to just for people to give up their rights to an authority figure because you're told to, that is scary and dangerous, that people showed the government and the people in power, these elites or these reptilian creatures, that you will submit to authority just because they told you to, which is scary.
And that's the thing, and like for most people on the planet, and not to sound like, oh, I'm, one of the chosen ones or anything, but for a lot of people on the planet, you only know what you're told, and that's whatever you're told on like local news, national news, by your fucking bullshit government or officials or whatever to come on the fucking TV every day and say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. I got the fucking vaccine, and I remember going to get the vaccine and thinking like, oh, it's for my grandparents, it's for this person, it's for that person. I don't give a shit about me, but if it saves them and I have to go in, and like, and it was this thing where it was like, I was the person who had to, go get groceries, had to go to the pharmacy, had to go do this, had to go do that. So I was like, okay, I need to be protected for them. But I remember going to have that thing, dude, and it was the fucking wildest experience. Like, I'll never forget it. That like I drove to like this I don't know what you would call it, like it's a town over from where I live, so it's like a local kind of community center kind of a thing. Like where they would hold like all sorts of different things, like school plays, bingo, whatever. And like the whole, as soon as you got on that road, there was like dudes in like high vis jackets that were like directing the cars a certain way with all these like barriers and fucking fences and shit. And then you got out, and it was basically like everyone was put into, it was like some sort of concentration camp. It was just like fencing.
And they
like
did
in
this
a tunnel.
to people in Australia. They actually put them in camps.
And like we just walked in single file like through all this fucking like animals. And I remember getting inside the building, and it was just like it was so wild. Like all these people were like who were working there or whatever so our local or our national healthcare service thing or whatever it's called, the HSE.
Yeah.
And like all those workers were in these weird like perspex boxes with like all fucking gowns and gloves up to here and shit. And like I remember just being like, this is so fucking bizarre. Like this is shit I seen on the X-Files.
It's too bad you didn't know me, because I would have screamed at you like I screamed at. I used to drive by one of the clinics, not to get off in this offshoot or whatever, and I used to fucking scream at the top of my lungs for people not to do it as I drove by. I'd be like, "You fucking sheep, don't do it!" Like, and I did a video of myself, and this is when people were like attacking me and shit. And that's why I say I've gotten used to this. And I truly wouldn't care. You can call me crazy. You can call me anything. Yeah, literally cattle.
Is there anybody on the planet still though that say, "Oh, the vaccines," and like I don't hear much of that anymore.
There is, and we're live on YouTube, so you gotta slightly be careful. But there is definitely people still out there that are doing that, because I've seen it. These people that live in an echo chamber they're like smelling each other's poopy. They're just like, oh, I love it, man. I love the smell of your fucking fart full of bullshit. All right, let's get into this. This is kind of fucking fun. Let me get into some more UFO videos before I show kind of one of these kind of fun. So let's get in. This one's a little weird. We can doesn't really matter if we unmute because some of these are fairly quick. So let me play this one.
Hold on. What is that? Justin, what the fuck is that?
Oh my God, they're coming to invade our fucking planet.
Guys, that's not okay. That's seriously freaky. Hush. Oh my God. Get your sister. Get your sister. Take it inside.
If I saw that shit, I would freak
shit my pants.
So
Like,
for all the
genuinely.
audio listeners, there's people, they're all like talking, there's the filming of clouds, and then you hear this, and it looks like this light splits open the sky almost. And this
I
is
would
what,
shit my pants.
This is what I have to say to people is, I've spent a lot of time, more than any other thing that I've done, researching UFOs and aliens. You know, I'm reading David Icke's book right now, but I've also, like, when I was a teenager, I would listen to anything that I could. And when YouTube was more free to the people and stuff like that, where you were able to find, like, you could type in UFO sightings 2023. I looked it up, and there's a bunch of, like, stupid news articles and people's dumb videos.
I noticed that.
It used to be like, I could look up Alex Collier's name and find all the stuff he was talking about, or certain ufologists or people that were abductees, and now it's been super censored. And I spent my time studying this stuff. And like I've said before in the show, is like, I tend to believe people if they're credible, like Betty and Barney Hill and all these other people that had normal lives and were credible people and just like everyday normal people. They weren't crazy living on some farm. I always joke about, you know, it's not Jed's getting abducted by aliens. Like, it's not like that. It's like normal people. And because I've had my own experience with shadow people and weird stuff and seeing weird things in the sky. I don't know if I told you this. The one time I was like smoking a cigarette on like a balcony at my mom's house, and I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19. And this huge bright light kept coming, like, was coming towards me when I was watching it. And it was like a huge bright light in the sky. And then my mom's boyfriend at the time came in the door. I turned and looked at him, looked back, and the light was gone instantly. And I've seen stuff like that where I'm like, I don't know how to explain what the hell I saw.
Yeah, it's the only thing I guess, to play devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah, like this person. Yes, of course, it's a low quality video.
That's
Well, no
literally
shit.
that's literally what I was just going to mention, was
Yeah,
the fact
yeah.
that, like, why can't some motherfucker in this day and age get like some sort of high quality video of something? I can understand the argument of whatever it might be interfering with the, you know, the camera or the technology.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, like, if they're that sophisticated, that if it didn't just mess up the footage, I don't think they have like a fucking, you know, something that's going to like fry it and make it a 144p video.
Oh, I know. And sometimes people are like I don't know. And I'm taking videos from like YouTube and stuff like that, and then I'm transferring them over. So there is the possibility that I'm even reducing the quality.
And that's probably happened multiple times. Like that could have been reduced already before that, so it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Most videos are filmed with a potato.
You're not wrong.
So I like this one. This one made me laugh, and this is just lights in the sky this guy sees for so people understand. And let's play this one.
I ain't never seen those in the sky in my life. Look how bright the sky is, though. Am I tripping? If I'm tripping, tell me I'm tripping. If I'm tripping, tell me I'm tripping. But what is that? I ain't crazy. I promise y'all I ain't crazy.
Oh, it's weird. I tend to. I don't know if this sounds racist, but I tend to like believe black people more likely than white guys, to be honest. Because they're usually like, I've had like I don't give a shit. I've had black friends, and people are like, well, you just saying that means you probably don't. This is like, no, trust me. We've had a black guy on this podcast. It's like that. I don't know why, but like usually black people are usually more skeptical especially about stuff like, needles and shit. Anything they're more skeptical about, especially when it comes from the government. I just think I like that video because he's like, am I tripping? Tell me I'm tripping, because I'm not tripping. And he's probably standing there and be like, what the fuck is that?
And like it sounds like such a real reaction. Like, I mean, and again, like you said, like it has nothing to do with race or anything, but like hearing a black guy talk like that, that's the exact reaction I would expect.
Like, what the fuck is that thing? There's a couple of videos we'll play for something more. This is weird for everyone seeing. This is going to be a strange one, but they claim that clouds can like just hover around the ground and stuff. There's some weird stuff to do with the weather anomalies. I'll just play this one for that because it's weird. Sorry.
Nice. Video was recently taken in Argentina. While filming a thunderstorm from their car, this person caught something extremely strange in the sky. During this flash of lightning, we can clearly see something fall from this group of clouds. Some are speculating it to be a falling cloud, while others suspect it to be a UFO. Whatever it is, it has no real explanation. It's just one of the many unexplained sightings unexpectedly caught on camera.
Moving weird.
Okay, if I saw a falling cloud, like that thing that was on the ground, I would be tripping balls, dude. I'd be like, what the fuck is that thing?
Like, that shit would scare me, like, even though I know, like, probably a cloud isn't going to do anything to me, but if I saw it, like, if I was driving and I looked out the window and saw that beside me, I'd be like, what in
Everyone would do the full grown man, like, ah! Like fucking scream.
I don't even know, like, if I just,
what
like,
is that thing?
hit the brakes or, like, speed up or veer off the road or some shit.
I want to, like, hit it.
It's
there's some weird shit out there, bro.
Yeah, and it's so hard to know, like, what's real, what's fake. This is I suppose it's the fun part as well.
Nothing is solid. Like, the reason that fucking anything is solid is because then the atoms are slowed down to a point. That's why they talk about, like, the third density, right? Our third reality, and how, stuff can manifest, like, this show becoming extremely popular and us living off this show. It might take a couple years, but I do put it out there that we're able to do this, man, and manifest things in our reality. We could use chaos magic if we really wanted to dive down that rabbit hole, which will probably eventually come for an episode. But like that in the fourth dimension, you think about it's like it just appears because it's not slowed down, everything. So I don't think we even know what real is or what reality is. And these people that are puppeting our reality and our existence could be some very demonic, if you want to use that word, creatures that want nothing more than to enslave us. And we're already enslaved in probably the eyes of them.
And like to go back to that guy I mentioned earlier, the David Grush guy, he's like another big like topic around UFOs at the minute, because like he's like it's like the big UFO whistleblower thing, and just a bit more to touch on that. So it was reported that Grush provided Congress with hours of recorded, classified information transcribed into hundreds of pages, which included specific data about materials recovery programs. And several current members of the recovery program spoke to the Inspector General's office and corroborated the information that Grush had provided for the classified complaint. The New York Times and the Washington Post declined to publish the story on the basis they needed more time to complete their editing and verification processes. Two other people had also corroborated Grush's claims were Carl Nell, a retired Army colonel who was also on the US UFO task force, and Jonathan Gray, a current US intelligence official at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. They said that Grush is beyond reproach and backed up his claims that there is an ongoing competition with other countries to identify UFO crash landings and retrieve the materials for exploitation and reverse engineering. The non-human intelligence phenomenon is real. We are not alone. This is a global phenomenon. and yet a global solution continues to elude us.
Well, do you know who Jeremy Corbell is?
Yep.
He's exposing this stuff, and he seems like genuine. That's what I'm saying to people is like, yes, okay, the government, if you see the crafts like we have on screen, which are the metallic crafts that look like some the military created, they probably created them. That's probably your own government. But when you see some of these UFOs that like change colors, and I've seen them myself, and people can call me crazy all you want. That's why I wear this hat on top of my head. That's a reference to Half Baked because I just got stoned. But the people can't explain some of this stuff, and you have credible people coming out and saying like, "Hey, something's going on," and there's people around the world who have claimed the same phenomenon. And the fact, I think it was like what was it? Not the president, but like it was like the top of the military in like Israel came out years ago and like was talking about how they like saw a UFO or whatever, and it's just like. And it's like, why would he do that on national like television, right?
There's a lot of stories from like the Middle East as well, where apparently shit goes on.
Well, Jerusalem, right? Like, is that technically the Middle East? That there was a crazy UFO years ago. I remember watching it on YouTube when I was a kid, and like, I think I saw 7 to 9 different angles of people filming this shit from all around the fucking city and shit, and it's wild. This thing like comes down, touches in the middle of Jerusalem, and then fucking fires back up. And I'm not turning religious, but man, talking to my Christian friends, like I'm like they're like the bugs are starting to rain down. There's like bees in places.
Yeah, just see that shit with them bugs.
I know, it's fucking weird, and it's been happening more often. And I'm like, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, so I understand why who knows? I eventually want to do maybe an episode about the revelations, because it seems like a lot of weird shit is happening. I said to my friends that are Christian, I was like, the aliens existing does not negate Christianity or God either, because I've read books like The Law of One, which talks about literally aliens. This woman's supposed to be channeling Ra. This is where David Wilcock got some of his information from his books that I've read, and who knows? I know. Who knows if he's telling the truth at all? But I like his books, and I think there's valid information in his books. And he got it. So I heard him talk about the Law of One, so I finally like read it and stuff like that, and it's pretty interesting because they talk about who these figures are throughout history and how it is connected to like a spiritual level, and these people need to exist on this dimension for us to learn lessons. Pretty weird.
Also, that this David Grush guy was quoted as saying a couple of days after it in an interview that the government are in possession of multiple spacecraft of non-human origin, as well as records and corpses of the deceased pilots.
There's a big possibility that it wasn't during Roswell, that it wasn't some mentally handicapped children that Russia sent over, because that's one of the theories, which is fucked. They're like, let's scare the shit out of the Americans and let's put these kids with hydrocephalic fucking heads in some spacecrafts and send them over the way. But they supposedly found a body during the Roswell crash. The one was dead and one was still living. That is the claim. And I've always talked about the idea of them reverse engineering the technology that they have, right? Because there's a theory of many theories how the chair of spaceships, okay? I haven't said this yet in a long time. The chair of spaceships is like fucking Star Trek, okay? So the chair responds to your consciousness, and the ship is technically alive. Like the ship also shares some sort of AI consciousness. And that's why there's theories about why they change color, because it has something to do with color hues. And there's colors that we've never even seen, supposedly, because our visual spectrum is so small. And the chair is supposed to be like some Star Trek shit where it can listen to your thoughts and it can command the reality around you. That's why it's weird if you look at like Futurama, they were talking about like, how's the ship work? And the ship actually bends time and space, and it's standing still, but it's bending time and space as it goes through, which is like an interesting thought on that.
It's funny that...
Well, like, let me finish. Then the chair supposedly they were able to reverse engineer it, and they could travel forward and backward in time with the chair that they took from the Roswell crash. That is a theory, though.
Which is wild, and it kind of ties into something else that this guy was talking about. That he said that the UAPs, as they're referred to now instead of UFOs, may potentially be coming from extra dimensions. He also mentioned that, is it Pope Pius the 12th back-channeled the existence of a vehicle downed in Italy in 1933 to the United States, that he had spoken with intelligence officials whom the US military had briefed on very large crafts, like football field kind of size, and that some vehicles were transferred by the US government, a cleared defense contractor, to provide some analysis to the government. An alleged arrangement that Grush claims that was totally unethical, that there was evidence of aggressive or malevolent activity by UFOs. He also claimed that there was substantive evidence that white-collar crime was committed to conceal UAP programs, and that he interviewed officials who had said that people were killed over the years to conceal said programs.
It's crazy because if I don't know how that, like, if this is set up in the way it's, I don't know, like, it's always hard to trust things, but you have like people like Dr. Stephen Greer and stuff that are trying to expose this and is heading the Disclosure Project, and I don't know, the way he talks makes me believe him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is very smart. He actually has credentials from being a doctor, and like, it was a normal dude. And I used to like, actually, man, I used to be so deep in this hole, and I can't remember his exact story, but it's interesting where he came from, and then he was just trying to expose this stuff. And it is kind of crazy that now you have a major whistleblower. Are they going to kill him, or like, they always want transparency? The government's like, yeah, we're transparent. Oh, but if you speak against us, you'll be like Julian Assange or fucking Snowden. So these people that actually like were trying to prove that the government was inherently evil and doing stuff against the people, and then they always jail them. And then during the Nixon administration, when they did the Watergate, they were like praising the people that figured it out, because I think it was all part of an agenda. So now with this guy coming out, if he is holding the truth and he is going to speak out, they might like jail him for this stuff.
It's weird, right? Because like,
I'm not a fan of Trump. It's look what they're trying to do to Trump.
I know, yeah.
And when the Biden crime family, like, I'm not going to get into that, but like, come on. If you got
it is wild, yeah. It is kind of double standards.
100%.
But like, this dude has gone back and like, he's talking about like fucking Mussolini and shit, and like him covering up different things.
Remember the Antarctica episode, right?
Yeah, like, apparently
what the Big Age did with the Greys, man.
There's all these documents now. I thought I had written this down in my notes, but I didn't. So when you have worked with some of these government agencies in different places, even when you retire out of that, apparently there's still a process that like said whistleblower would have to go through. They have to submit like a request to some internal group that basically will say, this is classified information that you can talk about. This is classified information that if you mention anything about, you will be going to jail for eternity.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Epstein your ass.
Yeah, like a couple of people had mentioned that apparently they found, I'd have to find it. I might post it on Instagram or somewhere when I find it later on. But you can actually look up, this guy actually submitted requests to all these things and they were approved. So then people were questioning, well, why would those committees approve what he's talking about if it's like this big, serious, like classified?
So that makes me think, okay, like, dude, interdimensional aliens exist, but for some reason in the books that I've read is that we made an agreement, and David Wilcock has talked about this, and other people, is if we make an agreement, if we just go along with what they're doing, then they're allowed to do it. Essentially, it's a karmatic rule. So if they influence us in certain ways and do these shady things, if these entities exist, then they're kind of, if we just go along with it, even though they're showing it, like the whole, like, think about this, the World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab be like, you will own nothing and be happy. This is how you're going to live. We're going to take all the cars off the road. We're going to do all this like stuff that is destroy humanity as a whole, right? And this is what we're going to do. And then, they're selling it and telling us the plan of what's going to happen. If we just go along with it and don't actually do anything to go against it, then it's their like go ahead when it comes to karmactic stuff. And this is supposed to be like how the Greys and the reptilians work, and all that stuff is like how we've made an agreement. And then the good aliens are not supposed to mess around with free will, but then the reptilians are the ones supposed to be manipulating our reality, and using tactics that are somehow able to happen, even though the good aliens, like, they have free will, like they can make their own decisions. So it's almost like Satan. Sounds weird, but like Satan feeding the apple to be like, I will give you something good at the end of this. If you just give up your whole freedom for your security, I'll make you feel safe. I'll put you in a pod. You can eat GMO food and bugs for the rest of your life, but I'll give you everything you need.
You can drink cans of moves.
Yeah. You can get yourself, and that's what's crazy, because like they're talking about the stuff in the water and stuff now. And luckily I live on a well, but how there's stuff within the water that can manipulate your DNA and maybe
what do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
There's tons of stuff coming out, and that like they're openly saying stuff that Alex Jones said years ago. And that's why we don't know anything.
And that's the wildest part
So
now
high,
is like,
man, that week got me way higher than I thought I was going to.
all of these people who were like, cast out and told like, oh, he's a lunatic, David Icke. I'm not saying that some of the stuff that these people come out with is a little bit, David Wilcox.
Especially.
You literally just played Alex Jones,
Yeah.
all these different people, but I feel like that there's things that all of these people have collectively brought up that I'm like, I don't know, it's just too coincidental. It's too many different people at different time periods in different parts of the world that it's like, what did they all just somehow collude?
Yeah, so most of what they are saying could be true, but it's like 60%. So there's like certain details that are off, or certain things that are not lined up in the actual way that it happened. And that could take off percentages of how accurate it is. But when they're talking about some sort of force, either it's good, like evil and good, and that evil exists, you can see it. My buddy that is like a Jehovah's Witness, as weird as it is, and he kind of said, he was like, if people want to know the devil exists, the evil exists. He's like, it's real. And I was like, I do believe in that. There's something going on. We can see that evil exists in this world, or you wouldn't have some of the things that happen, the atrocities that happen to children, amongst other things, right? So there's something happening. And if there is evil, then there is good. And we'll be able to fight against that using good and love in our hearts and stuff like that. But there's some things that they're pushing, and the majority of people are so like, I call them... I mean, a little bit sometimes. I call them brainwashed and conditioned and programmed, because they are. And I've never been that way. So then I'm able to see through some of this shit with even the alien stuff, where I'm like, I don't know. I believe that they exist, but I do think that they're actively maybe putting this stuff out to bring about their own agenda. And I've always thought, imagine if aliens and all this interdimensional beings were real, but they do Project Bluebeam, right? And then they convince you that it's real, and this is what you're seeing. And then the aliens still exist, but because we've got fooled by their illusion, that we still go along with this reality.
And I mean, I guess to kind of, what I was saying there about all these different people saying all these different things, and it's just, there's too many coincidences, too many like crossovers of things. I'm like, all these people can't be crazy. And it's something that you've mentioned before. And I feel like for a lot of the population and a lot of just the general public, that, like you said, will take away everything. You'll just be happy to just do what you're told and exist. And it's that whole thing of like, eat fucking shit, repeat, whatever that thing is. But it is though, and it's like, and it's the same as all these people, David.
Buy, consume, die.
Yeah, and like I'm sure that this dude now, David Grush, and all these other people, I'm not saying whether they're 100% true. He could be a con artist. It could be a hoax. It could be a lot of bullshit. It could be for financial gain. I don't know. Yeah. But the easiest way to, I guess, stop most people from ever knowing is to, I can't remember how you how you explained this. It was like assassinate their character or whatever. And once you do that once, it's very hard, I think, for somebody to come back.
Look at the Mel Gibson shit, man. Mel Gibson is putting out a documentary about the child trafficking stuff and how we only see surface level. And then during war, I'll say this quickly before we get take it off, but during war, they'd say it's like prime time. That like because there's so much chaos going on, 85,000 children went missing at the border in the United States. That alone, I'm going to keep bringing that up so people are reminded. I've said it like 5 times in the show. People are reminded this happens so often. Why is this happening? There's something going on, and people are like, we're distracted by the most easiest issue. Anything, we're manipulated, easily radicalized, like fucking Antifa and all these other fucking people. And it's just like we're so swayed away from like the actual truth of what's going on. The fact that like children, the most valuable thing to us, are going missing all the time in the hundreds and millions, and nobody pays attention to it. So there's like something serious going on. That's why I say evil exists, man. There's something afoot, and I got a couple more videos, so you have to hang on for at least like 15.
Yeah, of course.
I really like the direction we're going. It's like we're going live right now, so you have to be careful with some of the stuff you say. But like,
I know I forgot about that,
and it's fine because people think I might be people like it might be crazy to discuss these things, but there's something serious going on, and so everyone seems to be like, "Can I go see the new Avengers movie?" Sweet.
And that's
I can
it.
pretend
Like,
to be a hero in the movie, but I'll never be a hero in my own life.
and like, and you know, another example. It's not to knock any of this stuff because I also consume it and enjoy it. But like, you know, you talked about missing kids, and like if you look up the numbers, you would be like astonished by how many go missing. But yet we're still talking about Madeleine McCann. Yet we all sit there and go, oh my God, I can't wait to watch that new Netflix documentary about that crime that happened 75 years ago about a missing girl or a missing whatever, a family who died under mysterious circumstances. And it's like, okay, motherfucker, you're not willing to see what's going on right now, but you'll sit at home and eat pizza and fucking.
And when I talk about this fucking stoned, especially having a couple of drinks, as soon as you get into that aspect of it, I always feel weird. I always feel like, that we're tapping into something that most people don't recognize, and it's like this big, deep, horrible, the most horrible things we can imagine as human beings happening. And that's where my brain goes. I've thought about this stuff on mushrooms, which is crazy how it's changed my brain. And like I thought about people like Hillary Clinton, and I'm not gonna get into this stuff, but like and where how deep this rabbit hole goes, and mushrooms do something to your mind which expands it, allows you to see things in a different light. Let's get into a fun alien video.
Let's do it.
This is an actual alien. I have a couple more UFOs, everything short. Actually, before we get into the actual alien video, let's show something else from Las Vegas around the same time. I think it was this year. Pretty sure.
I think
Don't know what that is. Hovering over the strip, though.
The feelings that this shit used to give me when I was a kid is not what it is now, but it still is part of that where I'm like, you have no idea how I was when I was a teenager. Smoking cigarettes, looking up into the sky, being like, and I knew like I went through hell and back in my teenage years, going to fucking youth jail, I've said on the show before, doing like stupid ass shit that I mean I'm in bad situations. And I would always like that part of me. I'd be researching this shit, looking up to it. And I would just get stoned and drink. I didn't have any like addiction to hard drugs really when I was a teenager. And then I was like, I just look up in the sky, smoking cigarettes, being like, man, I could see shit. I'd be listening to like rappers like Vinny Paz or Moral Technique or something. And there's always something in me that was like, there's something else. There has to be in beings that could be watching over us and over our soul journey or any of this shit.
Yeah, I that, you know, that sentiment of like we are not alone and shit like that, as you know, some people, it's been made into like a fucking cringy saying now or whatever, but I genuinely believe that it can't just be us existing in this entire collection of universes and whatever other dimensions exist. It cannot just be us. Like, I mean, we have got to be one of the fucking dumbest motherfucking life forms in existence.
And then what we're
It's
doing
like,
with AI is like, don't fucking, please don't mess with that shit. It's gonna get worse and worse, and there's some scary shit going on right now with deepfakes.
do you know who is it Martin Shkreli? Is that his name? The dude who bought the Wu-Tang album that time for 2 million?
Oh, yeah. Okay, why?
The,
What?
the dude who he done all the pharmaceutical shit and went to prison for 7 years and he got out last
remember
year.
that. It's been a
Yeah,
long
he was like a little bit of a shitbag. But I watched like a YouTube documentary about him today, and there you mentioned AI when he got out last year. He tried to, I can't remember it, and I don't even want to promote it anyway, but he basically came up with this so he has a lifetime ban. He can't work in the pharmaceutical industry anymore. He can't work in all these different industries, because what he would do is he would like buy these patents for like 70-year-old drugs and then start remaking them again, and then he'd put he put the percentages up, like, so like say he bought a drug that was sold for $7 a pill or whatever, he'd put it up to $850 a pill and shit like that. And it was all like it was all like crazy life-saving drugs and all, and like just wild. And then like he bought that Wu-Tang album and he used to like threaten to leak it all the time. Then he was like, yeah, he was sending like these call-out videos to fucking Ghostface and all.
Should we do an episode about that guy?
Oh, that would be a really good episode, because I didn't realize how, I thought his story ended there, but it didn't. It just continued. And even when he went to jail, he'd done a ton of shit in jail that he shouldn't have done. That went on and on. But last year, apparently, he started working with AI and he created this company business idea thing that he came up with. And it was basically a form of AI that was based off of ChatGPT, that it would give you medical advice for anything. So he was like, he said he was gonna use this thing to basically eliminate things like WebMD, eliminate overtime, eliminate like doctors and things like that. So you'll just be able to like type and it will give you which was just wild. And like, I think he's actually currently in like a whole court case thing now, because somebody came out and said like, well, this AI stuff can like hallucinate and like tell you a lot of crazy shit, and that's like shouldn't be given medical advice.
No, that's fucking bonkers. That's fucking crazy. Why would you even try to be like
that was his workaround, I think.
Meanwhile, it's like getting intelligent and being like, you know what? No, it'd be better if you guys just didn't exist. Here, take a knife, walk into the bathtub, turn on water, and then like, you fucking do it out of life.
Yep. But like that, and that was his workaround for fucking not being able to work in the pharmaceutical industry. But it just kind of shows like how psychotic that AI thing could become.
It's already getting there. And there's people that like have AIs as like girlfriends, especially in like Japan and stuff. Like where they're like, there's not enough women, so they're like talking to robots, and then they'll like eventually will be in like a robot's head. That's what's first, man. You know what?
I've seen
we're animalistic. They will sell a sex robot that isn't intelligent, able to like do commands for you and stuff like that, and that will be first. But if people keep waking up, it'll be the military, dog.
I have that shit's scary. I keep seeing these fucking, I don't know if it's ads or just like videos on TikTok or whatever. And I don't know if it was because I watched one and now it's like just filling up my feed. These things where it's like, I used AI to win my wife back and all this shit and all. I used AI to try and stop my wife from divorcing me and all this shit. I'm like, what is this fucking shit? Like,
so you went down a rabbit hole and it is
AI
like, telling?
Well, apparently, like, and they write these big fucking, like, heartfelt messages and all this shit and all, but like, dudes were like entering loads of information about like their circumstances and like all these specifics, and then the AI would like use that to like, come up with like.
Scary.
I know
that they can replicate people's like books and stuff like that, and like how they can write an essay exactly how Jordan Peterson would write an essay is like it's only gonna get worse from here. So let's fucking watch some. I have a fun video that I want to save till last, but like check out this, and this is one of the weirder UFOs, and people have talked about this before, but some of these weird kind of triangle UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
we can clearly see an oddly shaped object hovering in the sky. Zooming in will reveal an upside-down pyramid-shaped craft slowly rotating as it moves through the sky.
Bro, you think I'm crazy now? If I fucking see that shit, man, I don't even know what the fuck is gonna happen to my head. I'd be like, fuck, you know how long I've been waiting for this? Because I agree with you, where I'm like, I've done this my whole life. I've looked up at the stars being like, come fucking save me from all these crazy people that trust their government. And it's just like, since I was young, I've always felt something fucking weird, man, about what the fuck's going on this planet. And I don't know if it's my higher self, because you got people, I'm not religious, right? But I'm spiritual. I believe in my higher self. Who am I above this fucking shit? Who am I above all this reality? There's something that exists above me. And I believe in predestiny to some extent, is that you know kind of what your future is going to be, what you're going to end up and stuff like that. And I've always there's something going on. It might not even be up there. It might be down there in the fucking oceans. It might be fucking not even in this reality.
It's scary shit. Like, it's wild.
I love that shit though, man. And like, that's what gave me like hope about, like, I felt like I was crazy for a long time in my life until I saw more and more people that saw the things the way that I did. And it was like kind of strange considering, like, man, I grew up like where people would, Billy talks about it. I was like fucking 19 being like, the reptilians are taking over the world. We're fucked. And I would talk about stuff that like they're going to try to implant us with microchips and stuff like that. Like when I was like 19 and it's like,
Doesn't sound so crazy anymore.
I know. Here, I got something else. This one's fucking weird. If this is real, this shit is weird, dude. Weird beyond belief. I'll give a description, or you can after the video, but let's play this one.
Let's do it.
Okay, our mics are muted, so check this out. I think I turned off the volume for this one. It's some weird thing, this translucent object that like is changing, and it shot out some sort of ball out of it. I'll play this one again because it's fucking weird. So if you watch it, it's some sort of like weird ball. It shoots a ball out of it, and then it's like it's translucent, like you can kind of see through it, and it's like changing and mutating into like weird, like it's fucking weird, man. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, and like this might be, and then it turns into just some fucking square, like rectangle, weird object that like morphs. And I've seen other UFOs like this. People are like, oh, of course it's grainy and stuff like that. It's because I was thinking earlier, I was like, most people zoom in. They're like, especially on their cell phones nowadays, you're trying to catch it. So from your eye, you see it's changing colors, whatever, and then the phone, it just looks like 4 little lights. But then you have to zoom in to catch, especially that one Las Vegas, that guy definitely had a cell phone. It was just zoomed in. And then people have shared the video so many times that it becomes grainier and grainier and stuff like that. I've seen it with the podcast. If I take this straight from here, it'll probably look great, but then I'm editing stuff, putting pictures in. It changes what it looks like after time of editing stuff. And okay, I got one thing we're going to end this on, but let me play this one.
One of the better shots I've seen of a UFO. This craft was spotted over several neighborhoods, and we even have another angled view from an onlooker in one of the neighboring towns.
Explain to the audio listeners what it looks like.
This is not to like discredit or anything, but initially I was looking at it, I was like, it looks like some sort of wild like fairground ride.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw that, it's like, I don't know, how would you explain it? Like, there's a like, obviously it's circular shaped. There's a light in the center, and then there's like these spinning lights in like perfect
formation. It's
and
weird.
it's like rotating.
That
like if I saw that, man, I would fucking. I don't even like, as much as I say, oh, I love aliens, blah, blah, blah. But like, if I was out at night somewhere or whatever, and I looked up and saw that shit close to me, I would probably fucking freak.
I'm still super enthusiastic about talking about this stuff, but like I'm telling you, because it makes me think of when I was younger and I was looking at this stuff while I was like just getting stoned, and stone's the only thing that calmed my brain down. Getting high was the only thing that calmed my fucking probably OCD brain that's been fixed somewhat by mushrooms, but I'll never truly be fixed. I am a human, not a robot. You can't fucking tinker with this mind. Mushrooms will eventually. I'll just be floating. I said to Billy, he's like, "What's good?" I was like, "Man, if I ascend, I'll just be floating around, man. I'll be floating around in my fucking. If I can just keep doing mushrooms, or I'll die."
Ask AI what to do.
Yeah, no, thank you. And man, that feeling I had when I was like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, when I was like younger and first started diving into this stuff, and then like, man, it's sent chills down my spine to be like, man, I don't know what like, I just want to know. I want more than this bullshit of like being an indentured servant, selling your time.
So I feel like for this episode, at least anyway, you've talked about it in that context. So are you scared by the idea of aliens or UFOs? Is there a part of you that believes that, you know, it's not going to be all lovey-dovey and ascending and great? Like, what if, you know, we get the version where it's like fucking not even like Mars attacks, but like it's just some wild shit where like these are just like ripping people apart or like taking people at
Well,
random.
that's always the thought, right? Especially because I'm a horror fan, is that there is there's the idea that you could have the bad alien invasion, where I've heard about stories. Okay, so like I don't want to get too far into this because I have like 2 or 3 more videos, but how supposedly the reptilians, this is a theory and this is a scary one, has a dome over the earth. Okay, like a spiderweb grid. And beforehand, this sounds weird, but on this planet, there was, this is a theory, I can't remember who this is even from, but there's different portals existing. And then you're able to like get through these portals pretty easily, and you could travel throughout different realities and dimensions and stuff. And it was like easy peasy shit. And then supposedly the reptilians, when they took over, they put a dome over the earth, and it's like almost like a grid. And as you die, you reincarnate constantly back into Earth, so they can exhume our energy for eons, where like it wouldn't matter to them. So you think you're gonna ascend, you see this light, but the light is actually going back into a fucking womb, and then you're like coming out of a fucking hospital room or something like that. Or like that's one theory, but like the idea that you just like constantly get shot back into your body and you reincarnate here, and they just use us like some sort of energy source. That's the scariest fucking thing, in my opinion. It's like a never-ending cycle.
The idea of that, but like, does it scare you? Like, the idea of the thought of being abducted or something like that, or when you listen to some of these stories, obviously they're quite. Some of them are kind of horrifying and like freaky, or like even some of those videos you've played on this stream. Like if you'll notice in the background, there's that like ominous like like all that, and like even the voice is like real somber and fucking freaky. Does it scare you in that sense, or is it more just like curiosity and intrigue?
It definitely scares me. I like your questions. I definitely think that if you want to, we should eventually. There's a couple alien abduction cases. Like I do have Travis Walton written out where we could talk about that. I think really go into depth about that, because it does frighten me. As much as I'm like, take me aboard, but everything that I've read, and I've read a lot of stuff, most times the people that are experiencing it are scared as shit because it's outside their reality. There's people that claim to have like got taken aboard during like a dream state, and you wake up and you're like, it's just a dream. And even though it wasn't, which is like always the scariest shit, because in our reality, we wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah, how would you know the difference?
Okay, check this shit out. This one got me, okay? This one got me. And this is like a crazy light, this ship, for all the audio listeners, this light ship thing that looks very strange compared to most UFOs, and it goes up inside like a portal. It's fucked. Just watch this.
Is that black smoke or something else at the bottom of the craft?
If I saw that, I would be like, what? I don't even know what reality is anymore. I give up. I'm going to quit my job and go live in the fucking woods. Like, I don't even know what I would like do if I saw that, because to me, people like they're like, it's grainy footage or whatever they want to claim and shit, right? Is just like, these are usually filmed with people zooming on their cell phones and stuff like that. But that footage, listen to me, why would someone create that? Why would some studio make that up, or the government, or in some time where usually they actually didn't have the capability to have the special effects on low budgets? But at the same time, it's like, the same people are saying that during the 90s were like, well, where's the fucking, you got some little photo of Bigfoot's foot, you know what I mean? And they're like, and now, like, or whatever, UFOs especially. And then they're like, now saying it's like not enough evidence.
Does that not scare you though? Looking at that. Like, I look at that.
Goddamn.
I look at that, like, and I'm like, if that shit is real, like, that gives me goosebumps. I'm like,
that thing just disappeared in some other fucking dimension. Like, how do we fucking know, man? I don't fucking like, seriously. Before I get into, I think I have the last one. This is I have something to end this kind of on later on. That's about 2 minutes about some information. Definitely went longer than we thought it would. But to talk about Project Bluebeam, I want everyone to take a gander at this. If people want to look it up for the audio listeners, it's called the Floating Cities.
China recently reported a floating city appearing in the clouds. The sights spawned a host of theories, ranging from dimensional portals to a NASA hologram under what conspiracy theorists call the Bluebeam Project. China seems to have a monopoly on properties that float in the sky. For the second time in 5 months, on March 18th, a group of hovering buildings were reportedly seen and videotaped. Seen from land, it appears as though the buildings were looming in the fog, resembling some sort of ghost city over the sea.
You ever seen that footage before?
no. Again, like, freaky. Like, I know, like, if you're looking at something like, if I looked out at the sea or the ocean right now and I saw that, I know it's not attacking me or anything, but that would still freak me out.
I would probably like they could probably so many people. I'd be like just like scream and then like book it, like be like, I'm done.
Like,
when we get a Project Bluebeam, like, if you can ever try to stay up super late, I know it's already late where you are now, considering, but to do something with me and Billy, before he maybe, I don't know, he's claiming he's going to move to Texas in like 2 years. I don't know. Billy says a lot of things. And then so I'm like, well, fuck, man, you're going to leave me high and dry. Luckily, we've started a show where we have many different hosts switching out, but like, I wanted to slap him deeply. I did. But
you can have him come on like this as like our Texan correspondent coming live from Texas.
I know, but then I don't know. It's never gonna be the same of being able to like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
shit's weird. It's like if we started that, which one day like you're just gonna move to my communist country because yours is gonna be the same way anyway.
Well, mine's already fucking
yeah, I know.
An absolute dump.
So everyone, let me know what you think of this. Oh yeah, by that time, someone in the chat's like 15-minute cities. Billy won't be able to be allowed out. All right, this is weird. I don't know if it's fake, man. Good costume.
See, when I look at that, right, I don't ever picture any of the nice, cool stuff that you've talked about over the last hour of like ascending and it's all going to be cool and nice. That's what I envision. I see stuff like that lurking around in the fucking bushes and whatever. And I'm like, if that motherfucker sees me, he's not going to invite me to some cool place or we're not going to have a cool conversation. He's probably going to rip me apart or he's going to do some weird shit to me or abduct me or something. That's the part that freaks me out.
Yeah, it's like Signs. I watched Signs outside on mushrooms.
God, no way.
During a fire.
No way.
We were having a fire too, and I was like, man, fuck.
That game we talked about potentially playing on live. That came out today, actually. I think the Green Hill incident, and
It's fine.
that's
I told you it's fine. It's like, isn't it Gray Hill?
or Grey
Isn't
Hill.
it like
Sorry, yeah,
Gray Aliens and the Barney and Benny Hill
yeah,
shit? I
yeah.
thought that was clever.
And like it's essentially like playing a video game version of Signs.
Oh, that's so cool. I enjoy it for what it was. And as I was getting my tangent earlier, yeah, like Mel Gibson, they're trying to like. I've always thought it's kind of weird. Like they released this audio footage of him saying stuff, and then he apologized for it. And then I don't know. Anyone that goes against the shit, they seem to be like, you're an anti-Semite. David Icke, Mel Gibson. There's so many people. It's just like kind of weird.
And they know
They call people like me radicalized or like you're far right. I'm like, I don't even fucking vote, dude. I don't believe in that shit. I think it's all bullshit.
and like it's so easy nowadays. Like that's actually better, I think, than assassinating somebody. Is just to assassinate their character so that you can continue on living and whatever, but like everybody's just going to think you're some lunatic. It's like, oh, I suppose the version of like maybe from 100 years ago. Oh, that's the crazy old guy that lives up on the hill.
Well, think about it. Okay, they call it like, and I've read David Icke's books. I'm getting into this one. It's very fun, and I've listened to him for how long? And plus Alex Jones, all these people, and Mel Gibson has always been a character I was told to not like. You shouldn't like him because he's racist and stuff like that. And then you start to look into stuff, and you're like, well, why is he trying to expose something that's very real that most people don't think about?
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense, as in like realistically, like what does he have to gain? I mean, he's Mel Gibson. He's been in like every big blockbuster movie for the last fucking whatever 30 something years. He's probably got a shit ton of money. The dude is like in the latter years of his life. You're like, what's the like, for people to say, oh, but it's just because he's a scumbag and he's this and that. I was like, well, it doesn't really make any sense.
Label you, right? And that's the whole idea, is they try to like be like, don't listen to this guy, and they always put some sort of ism on it.
And wait and see, before all that stuff comes out, I'm sure there'll be some smear campaign to like bring up all his like past atrocities and be like, this is why you shouldn't listen to him.
Bro, he said that Christopher Walken turned into the devil, supposedly. And I'm like, on a rooftop. And then he saw like the letter 666. And I was like, are they trying to purposely make him crazy? Or did he really see that shit? You know what I mean?
And this is the unfortunate part. And I think, if you don't think about things the way we do, or people that listen to the show do, a lot of people, and like I would probably say maybe at one point in my life I may have been open to the idea of slipping into that. I was like, maybe I should just like, I don't know, just submit. Maybe I'll just be happier if I just fucking give in.
Most people
And
do that.
and like and a lot of people do that. So it's like it's very easy to just like, all you need, and I'm sure every country has their version of it. Like here we have like the Irish Times, the Independent, all these different fucking, and it's like a lot of people like RT, for example, is our main like TV channel, news station, all that shit. A lot of people in this country, a very, very, very high percentage, whatever is on RT is the truth. So if RT say, oh, the sky is fucking green and, this doesn't exist and you should all just go and kill yourselves, everybody like, oh, yeah, sure, cool.
And that's what's crazy. It's cognitive dissonance, that even if people are showing you like the truth of what's going on, you'll still pull up the blinders and be like, but the TV didn't tell. Like, the guy in history was right when he used propaganda, right? The big H or whatever, the fact that he did, it's just like, this is not taken exactly from Joseph Goebbels, but like you make the lie big, you keep repeating it, eventually everyone will believe it. And they knew once they had the movies, like once they had like silent film even, and film where you could show people images and then cast using almost like magic on their minds to make them convinced that they see this image of all these people fighting for you, and then they like all go out and fight too. And that's how it started really. But I want to be a valiant. There's 16-year-old kids like, I want to go fight in this war to fight against this or that. And on both sides are giving you propaganda of like how you should fight for this and fight for that. Meanwhile, all those bankers and the people in power and the elites are just sitting there laughing, Just like fat cats laughing, being like, "Ha, look at them." I love this. This is from a Vinnie Paz song at the beginning. It's somebody said this, but the biggest egotistical thing that someone in power can do, a politician or someone elite, is not send one person to the frying chair, but send thousands off to die in war. Think about that.
I mean, and it's a much easier
like money,
form.
imagine power being like, I just sent millions of people to die for my cause.
And it's that thing of like, that's probably, you know, we live in a world where that's easier done than, like, I mean, I've seen motherfuckers who've done like wild stuff to people, like from, I don't know, serial killers, serial rapists, lunatics. Like we talked about the fucking toy box killer, like a lunatic.
That's not even going to be out yet. Just wait, everyone. It's coming.
And like, you know, they try and get these people like the death sentence, and there's all these like legal loopholes, whatever. Yet we send all these people all over the world, and hundreds of thousands and millions of people die, get raped, murdered.
Listen,
and it's all good.
Yeah, all in the backs of like, and even the war thing to begin with is like all on the backs of like the normal citizens. I'm trying to find out this, but like then you have the people in power that are not sending, like, you know, even, let me just say this, System of a Down. Why don't, you know, the BYOB, you're not sending your sons off to war. You're not going to war. You're sending everyone else to go to war so you can make money off it. It's like crazy how we still do that, where average citizens are like, I'm going to kill you because of this or that, your skin color, your religion, your country, your flag, whatever.
And it's a very toxic, like, indoctrination, like that whole, like, hoorah, let's go, like, shoot the bad guy.
Country. And then all the people in those countries are brainwashing and using the citizens, use it with propaganda to, like, convince them that that's the reality that they live in, that they're better than everyone else. I'm sure Russians hate Americans, and Americans hate Russians, and Canadians hate Russians, everyone else hate Russians. And it's kind of like a scapegoat, usually, it seems like, for the last how many years? 100 years? And then it's like, all right, well, we need to fight against the big H, so we'll bring them along, and then we'll go against each other again just after that. And everything seems to be very politically timed. And that's a fucking episode another day, because I could literally, I'm kind of high. I've had like 3 beers. I'm in deep where I'm like, I'll start fucking getting us pulled from music. Let me play this one to end it. It's about 2 minutes, and this is just kind of more people talking about the evidence that they have, and then we kind of bring it to a close.
To explain, hey, Candace.
Hey, good morning. The Pentagon has confirmed the authenticity of the newly leaked video and images showing those multiple UFO sightings by the U.S. Navy personnel, as the government prepares now to release a highly anticipated first-of-its-kind report of UFOs this summer.
This is probably the best UFO military filmed footage, certainly that I've ever seen, but I think also that the world has ever seen.
This night vision video shows 3 pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the coast of California in July of 2019. They reportedly hovered just 700 feet above the stern of the Navy destroyer. Other cell phone images taken by a Navy pilot flying near Australia in March 2019 show 3 unidentified crafts reportedly performing extraordinary capabilities, like staying stationary in high winds. Investigative filmmaker Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, an investigative reporter from Las Vegas, obtained the video and images.
These are unknowns, meaning they've already ruled out the typical things that you would expect, like balloons or basic drones from another country.
The Pentagon confirmed U.S. Navy personnel captured the images, and the incidents are under investigation by the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. Corbell says these photos, unconfirmed by the Pentagon, were taken aboard the USS Omaha. They show a spherical object diving into the ocean and disappearing.
UFOs are real, and they are here, but we don't know who they are or the intent.
Scary, eh?
That's the scariest part. We don't know their intent.
Listen, my whole thing is like, even the people with the flat earth thing, all right? So it's such a grand conspiracy, and I'm the greatest of conspiracy theorists. It's such a conspiracy, right? That like you have hundreds of people in on it, thousands. Like they're paying off everyone that not one person's gonna squeak through. Even in the military, you just like hire a bunch of people now. Just hire radicalized youth. That's what it seems like for your police force and a bunch of other stuff in the army. Telling them that they are men or women and women are men, and putting that in the fucking military. And it's like we're gonna really win a war when all the fucking shit is like all the giraffes. Like everyone that actually signs up for the war is like way down, like the inscription or whatever you call it. Crazy. But someone just left a comment restreaming some of your stream. Oh, that's fucking awesome. I don't know what that is. That's fucking dope though, son. But like out of, you know what I mean? It's like how can not one person is squeaking through? Like not one person is kind of coming through like and being like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
Like,
what I said. Like it's too coincidental at all. This is like a whole big
everyone's hiding
collusion
everything.
across like all these different places and all across the world and all these agencies and investigators and different people, that it's all just like a big.
They're all being paid out. It's like, fucking come on. There's got to be people that have genuine experience with it, especially people that come from nothing, have nothing to gain. There's a lot of UFO and abductee cases that we haven't even touched upon yet. Like even like Travis Walton. I saw that guy.
A lot of them, do you know what? A lot of them are
I didn't
not.
know who he was at the time. We saw like one doc on him. When I went to a UFO conference in Brantford, the small city in Ontario, like about like an hour from Toronto. And Chelsea was like, isn't that guy? And he was walking by and I was like, you know, if I was like this age, I'd be like, Travis
same.
Walton.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Same.
I was like,
I would love to just like,
20?
just to like pick his brain, like, and be like, dude, what the fuck?
You had to pay for his conference. It was cool to see him because like, and he was just someone that like, they were going to charge his buddies with murder because they couldn't find him. So there's like all these people that
That
have
story
really
is
weird.
mental.
I have it ready to go, so maybe we'll start digging into that. There's been a lot of aliens recently, like on this show. Actually, me and Anton did do the Battle of LA. There's been a lot of alien stuff coming down. That's why I'm thinking it's time to dive back into some serial killers. I know it seems like forever. The Toy Box Killer is coming out soon, so don't worry. That's one's messed up, but I feel
That's probably one of the worst ones that I think I might have done so far.
Yeah, I know.
Some
of them were kind
wild.
of like, if we were to do, like, you know, we got to get you and Billy on board at the same time to do, like, Night Stalker because he loves Richard Ramirez. It's like he's like a fanboy of him.
Like, this sounds really bad, but, like, same.
If you listen to the shit he says, that's why I post on the Instagram, strangebrew.podcast for everybody, of him talking about, like, there's different sections of Satanism. Like, he knew some shit about something there. He was tapped into something. Some other energy, man.
I really wanted a T-shirt for a while with him on it, and it was
I have
like,
one.
I was like, it's in a really bad taste, so maybe I shouldn't.
I have one. It doesn't fit me as well as it should, considering I'm drink too much beer. But like Chelsea even said, my fiance is like, "You gonna wear that out? Why do you want to rep some serial rapist murderer on your shirt?"
Yeah, it is, because it's kind of awful, but like at the
I
same
have
time.
an Ed Gein shirt that says "No gain, no pain." No gain, no pain.
But like there's something, I don't know, there's something about Ramirez that I don't know. He's just fascinating.
Me too. And we've always like that. They will be eventually on the Patreon for everyone that, you know, wants to help us out. There's tons of stuff on the Patreon now, tons of stuff. And we're doing more content on there all the time. And for both of ours, make sure to check it out. It's very cheap. But like there's some stuff that we've talked about on there. Like, I don't know, there's some serial killers out there, man. And there's a lot to come. I'm fucking so high.
I love aliens. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, me too. And I hope that they're real, and I hope that there's more than this than I'm gonna own nothing and be happy, because I'm not gonna be happy. I'm not happy right now. And you know what I mean? And like, I try to find happiness within my life that I live, but like, I would be happy if I could do this for a living or something I loved or something I put time and effort to, and not, you know.
Same, and I think
Not
like
what I'm
not to be a massive downer or anything, but I think if most people actually really sit down and think about it, it's like, are you really happy though?
Most people aren't. That's why they're on pharmaceutical drugs and why they push that so hard. Any ailment you have, anything you have wrong with you, here, Mads,
Have this crap.
maids, or you can have this pill. And that's why I'm all natural. I smoke weed. I like my alcohol, which is technically poison, and so is mushrooms, but I like my mushrooms. I just ordered a new batch I'm excited. It's a fucking really strong strain, so it's gonna be fun.
I want you to record your entire trip.
I want to do that eventually. I wanted to eventually do. I was going to. This is the idea of me doing different strains because I've tried all these different strains and I want to write it down. But I thought it'd be better to do a 5-minute video on every. And I've never done it yet, but to sit down and be like, okay, I'm full into my trip. And this is what I'm thinking about, and just try to limit it to 5 minutes. But then because I'm on mushrooms, it's going to be a half an hour of me talking to the camera.
It'll probably end up being like 3.5 hours, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just stuck in this room. So I was like, where'd you go? I'm going to do them this weekend because they should be here. And I'm fucking fairly excited because I'm going to chill by a pool. And it's going to be having fun.
You need to record yourself. You do. I swear to God, people would pay for that on the Patreon.
Yeah. All right. I'll start. I'll I'll make videos of, especially for the Patreon. I will do that. I'm not going to put it far out there, but the Patreon seems like a smart idea. Where during trips of different strains, I'll record myself for 10 minutes. Last time I was tripping, I told you I looked into the fractals or whatever people want to call it, these weird translucent images that you see, and I swear I was like thinking about like reptilians and aliens and trying to look through them. I swear I saw some shit, but then I was also watching Woodstock, like the footage from Woodstock, and they were doing what's that song from Devil's Rejects? Free as a Bird.
Free Bird.
Free. And I watched them play that shit during Woodstock, and I was like, the end where they like do like the 7, whatever it's 7,
yeah.
or that solo. I was sitting like, whoa.
Yeah, that is kind of, even without mushrooms, that song is a bit like.
Man, I was tripping balls, and then fucking No Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones came on, his long 7-minute performance, and by the end of it, it sounded like shit. I was like, this is not fucking music. He's just yelling on a microphone where they're barely playing guitar because they're all high as fuck. I had a lot of fun of this. It's funny considering this seems to always do this. We're like, oh, we'll do a fucking hour. And it's almost like 2 hours, and I knew it would never be this
2 hours later.
But everybody love everybody. You know, if you need to, I guess. People would probably be like, this guy screams everybody loves everybody by screaming about people that are brainwashed. It's like a little bit. But so we're doing what we want to do. I will always do this. We have so much stuff coming. I literally have episodes in bank. There's going to be something coming from a new guest on the show, Brett, where I'm not even going to release the full version of Patreon because I was definitely inebriated. But we talked about Kentucky Cannibal, which is just going to be for YouTube, where we dressed up. We look like 2 cowboys. We're smoking stogies at a bar, and it was 2 hours, and I cut it down to 1 hour and 20 because there was so much shenanigans in between of saying some stuff that we shouldn't have said. So that's going to be strictly for YouTube, and there's all the other stuff coming. I'm pretty excited. So, also, what? I don't want to spoil. We've already said it, but I don't want to spoil it yet. There's some big stuff coming on First Class Horror, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff there. I don't think we should say any more about it.
No,
because I feel like we'll like jinx ourselves or whatever.
There's a million things I want to get into. I will say this though, we're definitely getting into the X series because there's so much stuff we're gonna get into. I'm very excited.
You've got me obsessed with aliens now. Like, I'm going to be like, I have to get up like super early in the morning, but like, I feel like I'm going to be awake half the night now with like one eye trying to look at fucking UFO videos and shit.
I've done that too. You're like, I gotta stop watching because TikTok is fun for that. I made a TikTok literally for like comedy and horror stuff because all 3 of my other TikToks are nothing but like very negative. Oh, the world's coming to an end. Oh, the government's doing this. So it's just like constant people like, oh, this guy got arrested because he spoke against the fucking gay agenda. I was like, do I say, like, and I'm not saying that like you love who you want to love. I really don't give a shit. But like how I see all this stuff on my feed, I need to create something that was just like kind of fun shit. But most of the times I literally spend like looking for stuff for the show while I'm like laying in bed being like, what can I find?
It's really hard though, and like not to go down that rabbit hole. And I feel like now as soon as we get off this live, I know it's going to end up happening. I'll be like, I'll just take my phone out for 10 minutes and just see.
You take melatonin or even better, you need to get some valerian root. Take a little of that. Your dreams are going to be very vivid, but you'll sleep pretty good.
I've been meaning to try that actually for a long
Try
time.
valerian root. My dreams are always vivid, but especially on valerian root, I feels like I want to be able to try to actively wake myself up so I can lucid dream.
I haven't had a dream for fucking months.
What?
Yeah.
I dream like every night unless I'm wasted.
Oh, dude,
There's
I
something wrong with you.
wish. Yeah,
Is
I
it
know,
the
right?
shit you got shoved in your arm?
Fucking some sort of android.
I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's because you're so tired because you do jujitsu and shit like that, that you're working out because your body, that you're so tired that you just.
I don't know, and then like I'll have like these bouts of, but when I do dream, then they're like super, super vivid and just mental. I'm like, what the fuck? Like the last time I had a dream, I was in like Thailand or somewhere, and I got kidnapped, and I was getting like stabbed.
Whoa.
And but it felt so real. I felt like I could feel all the stab wounds and shit.
I don't know. We could probably do 2 parts, but eventually we were talking about doing a dreams episode with Shane that created the design. But I did it way back in the day with someone just one time that was just a guy at work that shouldn't have drank on that occasion. But I would like to do dreams. That would be kind of fun. And if you have all these, I have tons of weird dreams. So.
Same. I actually have loads of voice memos on my phone of like me waking up in the middle of the night and being like, "Oh, is it gonna start?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, don't play them because I could have pissed myself. But listen, you have to bring that up and save them because that's very funny. I've always wanted to do a dream journal, but I always forget. But to do voice notes would be funny. Is that if I dream
that? And the reason I done it was because I had a journal beside the bed, and I was like, I'd wake up like too out of it to like be able to do anything. So I'd like scribble like pieces of stuff. So I was like, I wonder if I leave my phone out and like if I wake up, I can just pick it up and be like, oh, fucking getting abducted by aliens. I'm dying.
That's so funny. All right, everybody love everybody. We have to end this. You know, we could go on and on and on and on. But there's a lot of stuff coming from both of our sides. And, you know, if you did enjoy the conversation that we had about the political realm, we'll eventually maybe be doing a political show one day. If you didn't like what I have to say, because someone said that we sounded crazy and said some shit.
Who?
I was someone from Spotify where I can approve it or disapprove it. They're like,
fuck you.
yeah, fuck up. But like, if people can think whatever they want, but they claim that it's a far right conspiracy and they're trying to take our rights. And in my opinion, maybe that happens in the States, but within Canada and other countries, the conservatives are at least kind of offering us a future to some regard.
And also, I can second this from a different part of the world. I barely even know the difference between right and left. So when I see people who like DM me on Instagram, like, oh my God, you motherfucker, and all this stuff, I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
I think that it is kind of weird if you think about it, considering just one last point to end it on, that around the world, around the same time, all the Commonwealth countries, a bunch of them, and including the United States, all went left for some reason. Seems like they could sell some sort of communist agenda in that regard. But like, I don't believe if voting mattered, they wouldn't let us do it. So I believe in creating small communities. I am an anarchist. For people that think I align with any ideology, I would say libertarian maybe, but I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in the government. Of course, at the end, and we have a bunch of people in the live. Well, re-listen to it because we're bringing this to a close.
Unfortunately.
All right, we will be back. There's tons of stuff coming on First Class Horrorcast, and Strange Brew Podcast. I've literally have like a banked up full of episode stuff for YouTube. There's a lot of shit coming, so tune in, fuckers.
Bye.
You got anything to say? Oh, I can't do that. I like that. You did the Star Trek hand. I can't do it.
I think that's it. I was like,
You did it right,
maybe this is some other weird shit.